Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Prison Architect. We got a huge row of trucks here with a downed tree. I have to go ahead and dismantle that as soon as possible, get these trucks out of here. We have some housekeeping sorts of stuff to do around the prison today. So I wanted to take a look at some of the stuff that's kind of missing, maybe a gap. And I want to also talk about the regime today and how I've structured it and why. I want to talk about there was another thing that people really wanted to see, and that was the deployment scheduler. So I wanted to walk through that too, because some people had some questions about that. And then I mostly just want to take a look at some of our numbers and see and talk about some of the things we can do to help those numbers. And actually I could probably get carpentry apprenticeship going here too as a grant. Okay, so first let's talk about the regime. Right now we have eat time at the same time for all security levels every single day, 6 to 7 for every single one. Now this doesn't apply to protective custody, but we don't have any protective custody, at least not right now. So firstly, housekeeping wise, let's take a look and see if there's anyone out there that we should have as protective custody. And the best way to do that is to take one of our informants, let's say Gareth here, and we're going to go ahead and get him en route, get him summoned into the prison. And the other reason to do that now is because I just did an intake. So I took in some minimum security to kind of fill that place out just a little bit more. I took in a couple of mediums and a couple of maximums. So we'll go ahead and close this up now. But all these guys are going to come in with... if I can get all the trucks out of the way first, really. The trucks have been waiting for the exports, so our exports have been slower because I didn't see that tree in time. So I'm just going to kind of dismiss a whole bunch of these vehicles real quick and see if I can't get the prisoners into the prison right here. Okay, so we see these guys coming in. He's got a green thumb, and that's kind of it. I don't have anybody. Okay, right here, snitch. Do you see how they're identified? They're really easy to see. So we'll go protective custody on you, and we'll go protective custody on you. That'll bring them into a place where they're a little bit safer. Get them into that region down here that we want them in. So that's going to take care of that. And it looks to me like I don't have anybody else with question marks right now. So that's going to kind of do it. Now, the other thing I can see is that there's a lot of contraband, especially oranges. They probably are stuffing drugs inside the oranges. So I'm going to probably go ahead and have quite a few people searched here. So we'll deactivate you. We're just going to search that guy. We're going to search that guy. I think there was this one here, I think was one, but I can't tell. I know those two have oranges on them, so I'll go ahead and do that. So these guys should move now to have their cells down here. Just double checking, making sure that we have... these ones are not actually marked as cells right now. So I forgot to do that, I guess. So here we go. Just mark these as cells. All the way down, and there we go. Make sure the regime is good. It does appear to be. These ones up here are not cells either, so we'll go ahead and do that too. And that's going to give us total capacity of pretty close to 300. There we go. Okay, good. So the next thing I'd like to do is figure out... Oh, you guys are... Oh, aren't you guys special? A bit trapped. Just a bit on the trap side there. These guys are very pissed off. Hopefully they'll get that door done and then they can get out of here. What I want to do also is expand minimum sec a little bit today. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate that wall as well. If I can get that done. We have sort of a different arrangement here. So there'll be cells here. And actually might adjust this again even. Might go like, let's say here and then down 9 is where the cell usually is. So I might be able to get away with it being down this far, but yeah, it would be right about here. I might be able to get away with it being this far, but I would like to make a library for these guys. And it's going to be a little bit difficult to do that wrapping around here, but I suppose I could maybe try. I don't think it'll be great though. Like I want a bigger room for this. These aren't spaced out very well, basically. I'd also like to maybe give these guys a parole room too. So one thing I guess I could do is extend this area here. And then, you know, when the visitors come in from this side for parole, they could also come over here for parole too. Or maybe over here for parole too. So we can maybe do something like that. That's acceptable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, wall. Right? And then 3, 4, 5 wall. 3, 4, 5 wall. So it could be something like that, I guess. Doesn't really space out very well, does it? I suppose I can have the door here and yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We don't have great spacing over here on this, so and we don't really need that many rooms actually. So I probably could get away with just having 2 and then having this be a library. Hey, that would work actually. Yeah, this could be the library right here. Okay, I like this. So we'll have that be a thing. So to get that started for my workmen, I'm going to go in and grab the clone tool for this. And I'm just going to move it and stick it right there. And then I'm going to grab the clone tool for this. Nope, I don't want to copy the wall. Just leave the wall. And then we'll put that here. We'll expand cells for this area. And then I also want to make sure that the flooring is, I think it's the cargo floor. I think it's the one I used for this. And I'll just kind of make that a thing. You can put benches, telephones, little common room area kind of here, and then this will be the parole area, which we can basically just get away with by doing something like this. Yep, that works for me. And then we'll go brick wall like so. Down, brick wall like so, and down. And then this will be where we place the library. So we'll have a door there. And then we can eliminate that door once we're done with it. All right, so that's the expansion there. So regime, right? Have everybody eating at the same time. This is good just for the sake of deployment, the deployment scheduler, right? Now, for protective custody, they have a lot different schedule. So I'm going to have to look at that because I haven't had that accessible to me until you actually have people to protect. So we'll come back to that one. But here's how this breaks down, just for people can see it. So we've got free time right after the eat time. And then we've got minimum and medium. They have a lockup before their first eat. This is strategic. This isn't just at a whim. Because minimum security and medium security have showers in their cells, they can use the lockup period before eat time to take care of bowels and bowels and bladder, and also take care of their shower time. They can do that the hour before they go eat. So they're in a better mood when they all get together to eat. Now, maximum security, they do not have showers in the cells. So I've given them a free time slot there instead. This lets them get out of their cells and take care of whatever needs they deem is most urgent at the time. Some of them will go to the showers. Some of them will come down and do whatever. Maybe they'll go in the yard. Maybe they'll want to go into this common room and make a phone call. Whatever it is, they can address their need that they have right away here, okay? Now, I didn't do a dedicated shower time because that stuffs the entirety of my maximum population in this small space. You're just asking for problems if you do that. So I haven't done that. But I've also prepared the shower for the case that a lot of the free time people wanted to come in here. So, for example, there's a lot of warden statues. These add suppression to the area. There's a whole bunch of them, both on the entrance here and also back in this area. We've also got first aid stations so that we can treat any wounded that might be in here right away with the guards that are trained for first aid, right? Wearing a first aid backpack, I guess, too. So we have that happening too, right? Trying to figure out why we don't have anyone on my cameras. Like, you really have that many guards? I'm just going to add a few more in here. Normally I gotta put them on the road, but I'm going to stick them in there because they're not on the cameras. I must have not enough guards or something. Anyway, so there's that. So this is based on taking care of needs. That's all this is, right? So then they go to eat. Then minimum security, they get free time. And they get free time right at the same time that maximum security goes to work. So that hopefully maximum security comes in here and works this shop right here. minimum at the time, which right now they're working too, but minimum at the time has the opportunity then to come over here and buy something, okay? And right now, minimum security prisoners have the opportunity to come over here and buy something anyway, but I also don't have enough lights in here, so I'm just going to add a few more. Add some lights in this area. Now, I'm noticing that they're also coming over here, and they're not supposed to. This is not what I want to do. Hang on. Minimum. Okay, something must have happened there. I think it's when I opened this up that changed. But now we should see these guys are not allowed to go into this area. And I might, I could make it like a little, I call it an airlock, but I could make like a little staff-only section here to stop that, but I'm not going to. So this gives them the ability to serve both sides during that period of time, okay? Now that's why we have staggered free times for these different regimes. So they go through and they have medium security anyway has 2 separate periods. This is in the hopes anyway that the prisoners will be able to take 2 separate programs. So if they want to work in the workshop, they can do that for money, but then maybe they also want to take foundation education. They can do that in the second slot. So I have that kind of thing happening too. We have decent cash flow. So what I'm going to do is I have multiple education periods of time here. So they have flexibility in when they can enroll. Ooh. Gen Ed. You're still trying this? Jesus, will you please pay attention in class? Success chance 0. His concentration is terrible. His understanding is adequate, but he's got a suppression effect on him. It's a small suppression effect on him right now. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I'm also noticing there are rats in here. That's a big no-no. Rat trap here, and then I also want the deterrent. I think I want the deterrent like sitting right here, just like right in the middle of the room. Keep these guys out of the cafeteria. They might come in here, try to get to the food, but they'll get trapped by the rat trap. Hopefully, yeah. Let's get those 2 things in. I pretty much have always. Pest control is always on site. Always. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing there. Now, you can see how the schedule works that way. Maximum security has more lockup period than any other time, but they do have this kind of a problem right now where they don't have free time at the same time as work. At least not many of them do. So I'm going to go ahead and implement a free time slot here and here. So the people who don't have jobs, they do get a second free time slot, and that's just so they can buy things from the shop and stuff. So there is a little bit of an extra one, but I want to have, in general, I want to have more free time available for the other slots, which is why there's an extra free time slot here when this is lockup, and this is a lot of free time and then lockup. And this is only 5 hours of sleep, so I probably should go something like that with it. Okay. So let's talk about the deployment scheduler really quick too, because it has somebody with a question on that too. Deployment scheduler works in a series of levels. Or it's not really levels as a progression. It's more like just like level 3 and level 2 are completely separate levels, but they have their own set of rules, right? White is just all periods of time in general, unless otherwise delegated. So it's like the default. But right here, I have like say period 3 or level 3, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it schedule 3. That's probably better. So schedule number 3 is here. Then I have 6, then I have a 2, then I have 5s, and then I have 2. And this might get confusing for people who aren't really familiar with the game. So how does this work? I like to do it with colors. I don't really care so much about the numbers. But I like colors. Red for me is danger zones. So in this case, it's mealtime. So I can select these numbers and change them between 1 and 7. Okay? And they all have their different colors. In this case, I've opted for 2. Now, 2, for me, red, is eat times. 6 to 7, right? So 6 to 7 and 6 to 7. This is AM and PM on both sides of this, right? And you can see that the deployment is showing 6 to 7. So when I select one of these, I get a red arrow. And then the general, whatever time it is now, is the white arrow. So this is now, right? The white arrow. And if I click like here, it's going to show me what the deployment is for that period of time. So this is my rules for period 2. I've got a lot of people over here. I don't really need that though, not for period 2. Let's take that away just a little bit. And we'll make sure that we're stacked in the canteens and maybe a little bit out in the open here because they're moving, right? So you might want that. We come over here. We're showing period 2 right now. We don't really need anybody in the workshop for that period of time, but we do need people in the canteen, so we'll add more there. Maybe a couple in the yard. We don't really need very many in the cell blocks. You see what I'm doing there? I'm making it to where my guards are moved and concentrated and deployed, if you will, on a schedule where they are in the right location for the prisoner's schedule. So for the 6th period here, it's mostly, and this is 5 o'clock, not 6 o'clock. This is that free time slot, right? So during that little thing there, I've got a whole bunch in here. I've got some in here. I've got some through here. And then there's also some patrols I could do too. So maybe I want to have like, let's say I want to have 2 guards stationed here and here. I want to have like, make sure there's a couple of guards because you can work with you can work with this too, right? The patrols and stuff too, because when you click it and you're selected with the red arrow, deployment for 5 to 6, right? It's flashing. When I click one of these, it'll assign them to schedule 6 only, right? So if I click 5 here and do this, it'll be 5 only. If I go like this, it'll be 2. I guess it's 3 because 2 o'clock, but schedule 3. You get it. Only, right? And so I can keep guards in the locations I want them, which is why my dogs. I have a ton of dogs in the cell block, right? All sorts of dogs are scheduled in here. There's like 10 of them, right? But they're only here for schedule 3. They're only here sniffing around at nighttime to try to get the tunnels. Try to detect them when they're digging and stuff. So in this 5 zone, from 8 to 5, that is when everybody is doing work time and work, or free time and work, right? They're going to be out and about, moving around. Lots of mobility during that time, so I've got my guards more spread out during that time. And it looks like I might have deleted their deployment. Oh, no, I'm looking at patrols, that's why. Deployment, here we go. So I've got my guards more spread out during that time, right? We could place... maybe we can place some out here in this area just so they're outside wandering around. But there's like more here because they're working in the workshop, so we need more coverage there. There's free time zones, so maybe we need more guards in the yard. Maybe they're going to hang out in the benches. Who knows? We don't quite need as many in the cell block probably. And we go from there, right? We just kind of implement guards and move them around to whatever the deployment scheduler what says, right? And I can make as many different variations in scheduling as I want to coincide with my regime, which is why I don't normally do anything with the deployment scheduler until after I'm done segregating my prison and I kind of have it figured out what their schedule is going to be. And then once I've got the schedule in place, then I can work with this because I don't want to keep having to change it over and over again. So hopefully that makes sense. But for protective custody, they are here, right? But I don't want them eating at the same time as the other prisoners. So I need to adjust that a little bit. So what I'm going to do there is, this is going to show me medium, but I actually don't care about medium. I care about minimum. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to like switch back and forth, but it's not that difficult. 6 to 7 is eat time. We know this. Then there's 8 to 9 free time. We know that too. So what I probably want to have is, since protective custody is pretty small, there's really low chance it's ever going to be a problem. I'm going to have them eat at 5 o'clock, and then I'm going to make sure that they're in lockup here, right? And I probably don't need them to have any sort of like work period because they're not really going to work. So it's really just about being locked up and having free time. They really can't work much at all. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to give them classes or anything like that. So maybe what I could do is extend this zone down a little bit and then have a walkway that goes into the cleaning cupboard. Then they can access the cleaning cupboard and clean their own region. Possibly. They might also be able to get access to the classroom during that time too. It does complicate things a little bit more though. So from 8 to 9, what's minimum doing? 8 to 9 is free time for these guys, so can't do that either. So the next place to eat might be 11 o'clock. So they eat at 5 and 11. That's not a great schedule for eating. So what I might want to do in this case is take minimum security and just go ahead and throw a lockup period right there at 5. And then from there, I can let these guys eat at 5. All right. But then they go back into lockup here. So hopefully that makes sense. I've walked you through the deployment scheduler and stuff. I'm hoping that makes sense. Looks like we did the carpentry apprenticeship thing. That's awesome. We could do, I think, cell block E next, but we might as well hit this just in case. The reformed prisoner thing. I would like to see what else is hidden, but I think once I get the long-term investment is a guaranteed success. I just have to wait it out, which is another 95 hours. And then overproduction is pretty much a guarantee too. It just takes time. So we're harvesting apples, bananas, the peaches. We'll harvest them, but we have to wait. I'm just now growing the trees, so that'll take a little bit of time. Potatoes and cabbages should be pretty straightforward. We're already harvesting cabbages. Potatoes are pretty close too. So this is all just a matter of time stuff. So I guess we'll take the Reform Prisoner Initiative. So this is, the government is focusing on the benefits of prisoner investment and wants to champion the success of prisons that successfully reform inmates. Reformed prisoner programs play a vital role in prisoners reforming after their release from prison. Provide prisoners the best opportunity to turn their lives around. So what we need here is 100 reformed prisoners after release. How close are we to that? Well, we're 54% done. So that's the thing we want to focus on is reform, right? That's the whole purpose of what I'm trying to do here is reform. So one of the other things we could do is I want to implement and build libraries now. Libraries are great because they give them that literacy need, and people kind of calms them down, gives them a story, right? But it also, in order to work in the library, you need education. And so if they want to work in the library, they will need to go through other programs in order to get there. Basically just giving them another opportunity to work, right? So I'm going to expand this to be here. I'm also going to come down. I think this will be my library here. And we'll start with giving the minimum security a library first, I think. So why don't we go with library? We don't have one of these yet. We're also going to go ahead and dismantle that door, because I don't want them roaming around out here either. And once that's done, I want you to build a brick wall here. And do that immediately. All right, so what we've got now is we need sorting desks and library shelves. These are pretty easy things to get. Remember, not every prisoner can work in here. You have to be educated to work in the library. So we'll put these books around like that. And then I'm gonna give them some sofas and stuff to sit in. So we'll maybe make like a little reading area over here, let's say. And then we can have the sorting desk be over on the edge, like say over here. Easy. The last thing then is they can get scissors and all sorts of stuff that in from the library. That's definitely not things we want them to have. So we're going to also place a metal detector in that spot. And then we need the power to come down. Let's bring it from... We can bring it from this side, I guess. We'll just go like this, I guess. And we'll go through the walls. I like that better. Let's get this stuff done, guys. We're gonna make them force them to focus on that for now. Not a whole lot of violence today. Feeling pretty good about that. I want to take a look really quick at the policy tab. I'm kind of making this video the video that I said I would focus on these different tabs and talk about them and how they work and everything. So we have prison policy here. We don't currently have any supermax, so that's no big deal. But if we did, we might want to take away labor rights for them. If you're a supermax prisoner, you're not allowed to work. That's kind of a big deal. But you can take programs, and you'll be required to take programs in order to get downgraded, right? So we want to make sure that they are able to take programs if we want to give them the opportunity to downgrade themselves. There are well-being programs, education programs, and work programs, right? I don't want them to do work programs. I don't want them anywhere near carpentry stuff, workshop stuff, kitchen stuff. I don't want them anywhere near that stuff. Now, if you want to take education, by all means, please do so. It has a big impact on your reoffending rate. Well-being stuff is good too. Behavioral therapy, spiritual guidance, all that stuff, that's going to be important too. So if they are in Supermax and they want to get downgraded, first off, they need to not be in a gang. Secondly, they need to have one of these two done. And have no violence, and then they might be able to get themselves to maximum where they're allowed to do other things. Now, if I wanted to, I could also say that maximum are not allowed to work in the workshop, and I really wish I had fine-tuned control of this, but I don't. Thankfully, the work programs really only seem to apply to carpentry, workshop, and kitchen. They don't apply to farming, at least it doesn't seem like it does. So I could have maximum security working farming, I think. Okay, so that's how this part works. That's pretty simple. You don't have to worry about criminally insane. They don't do work. They only focus on well-being stuff, but they do take part in well-being programs. So you can put them through like alcoholism, behavioral therapy, etc. They just won't work in workshops and do kitchen stuff. Like they won't do those types of things. All right, let's take a look at misconduct penalty. This is another way to deter people, right, from doing bad things. So you can make their punishments bigger or smaller depending on how you want to do it, and you can control it individually by the level. So if somebody from maximum acts up, maybe they attack staff. Maybe I give them 4 hours in the bin, right? Attack another prisoner, it's 2 hours. Escape attempt, let's go 4.5, 5 hours, right? We can make their punishments really harsh. If they get promoted and they transfer, maybe their punishments for doing these things are a little bit lighter. Maybe they're not as violent or a lower security level. We don't punish them quite as harshly when they do things. And that might influence them into saying, man, I want to get downgraded. It looks like it's a good situation over there. How do I get over there, right? And so you can manipulate these types of tabs and stuff to give yourself a little bit of an incentive for your prisoners. They want to behave better because the benefits of doing so and getting downgraded is worth it, right? Same thing with nutrition policy, right? I have a various meal variety because the maximum security people have a different meal policy. So if I was to go like this, looks like this is still various. What? Oh, here we go. So maximum security gets low variety, right? Maybe I take Supermax and I give them low and low. If anyone's Supermax, they get really bad food, right? Maybe Death Row gets, something. This is not... This is... you have to individually toggle these to see them, right? So generally speaking, I stick with medium and medium for everybody. But one thing I could also do, if I wanted to entice medium to want to behave even more, is I could also give low security, I could give them better food. There's a lot better food for these guys. And so again, it's going to entice them to want to behave so that they can get upgraded and get some of that sweet, awesome food, right? Parole cutoff policy, same thing. The cutoff policy is more strict for higher security levels because I need to make sure that they get out of here and they don't reoffend. They tend to be more dangerous, so I want to make extra sure. And my parole policies are, I think, fairly common here. Yeah, they're pretty standard, I think. I maybe have them reduced from default, but yeah. Farming policy, kind of the same thing. And then also visiting hours. You can adjust the different visiting hours that people get too. How many hours are they allowed to visit? So this one says higher visitation times will provide higher needs boosts to the boost and the boost duration. So one thing I might want to do is say, hey, low security, you guys get like 3 hours. But it looks like here, if I do this, it's only going to allow for 2 visitation sessions of this duration, because the longer I make the visitation sessions, the less prisoners are able to do it, right? Because they can't use the same tables at a time. So I'm going to take and do 2 hours, visiting hours, for these guys. For everybody else, you get 1. So again, it's trying to entice them. And maybe I can even go as far as to make you guys 1.5 hours. So I'm giving them more visitation time, trying to entice maximum to want to transfer, right? And then using quality cell ratings. This one here is just, this thing here, right? Where if I go to logistics room quality, you can see the room quality ratings here. These are really bad rooms. People hate them. So if I come over here, they're a little bit better. 2s, 4s. If I come down over here, we get 7s, 6s, 10s. We're going to upgrade these 2 as we go. And so when we use cell quality ratings, if a prisoner is acting well, they may move to another cell that they're eligible for and have a better environment if they're able to. For this, I don't have it set up quite yet. So I'm going to add some things to these rooms to make their rating go up. And so one of the things I might be able to add here would be a radio. I'm really kind of hesitant to do that because if that random event happens where I have to remove radios, then it's going to be a pain in the ass. But that does improve cell quality ratings. Another thing we might be able to use to improve them would be like the pet bird or the sink and mirror, which I think is probably a better one to do. So I'm going to go with the sink and mirror. I'm going to put that right over here like this. That actually might be a bad idea because, first off, it's not in line with the toilets. And also, this is really far away, so I might have to adjust my water lines to do this. But I'm giving them just a slightly better cell in the hopes that this will, you know, create some diversity in the cell quality ratings available in this penitentiary. We're going to install some sinks and stuff. These ones will be easy. There's already a pipe running this way. But I think the ones I just put in on the other side, I'm going to have to extend the pipe. Let's take a look really quick. This will have to come out by 2. And we're going to have to see whether or not that actually reaches. I suspect it won't. I suspect I'm going to have to go even further with the big pipes, but that's going to have to be fine. If a prisoner is staying in a cell and they deserve a better one, but there's none available, they'll get agitated about it. So you want to kind of create this diversity here. And what determines whether they deserve it, right? And it's about their behavior. So maybe they deserve a 4, but they attacked staff a little earlier. Well, now it's been reset. They deserve a 0 or a 1, right? So they have to act well for long periods of time to start earning that kind of stuff. Ingredients. I still don't know how this stupid thing works. I have no idea where this toggle should be, but it's just keeping track of how much ingredients we have to import versus how many we're using from our own prison. And I don't know where this thing needs to be. Yeah, so there's that. Transfers tab. Same kind of deal. We're manipulating sort of what are the requirements to be eligible to transfer, right? And so with this requirement, medium security needs to be qualified, you need to not attack staff for 6 days, no murders for 6 days, no escape attempts for at least 5 days, no dangerous contraband for 3 days. And since this is going down to minimum, I should probably raise these. And you can see how many are qualified based on the requirements here as well. So there's only 2 people eligible for based on this. If I go up to 4, now there's only 1. So one of the prisoners who are trying to get themselves transferred, they have basically had no dangerous contraband for 3 days, and they need to do it for another day now to qualify, right? So there's that. Gang members disqualified, no gang members allowed a minimum period. So that's good. Reform, what's their chance of reoffending? Needs to be at this number or lower. How many programs have they passed? Need to pass at least 2 programs to get down there. And also, do you only need 6 out of 7 of these conditions? I can make it full, but I didn't. And then the maximum security has different ratings here too. If you're maximum and want to get down to medium, you need to behave. You can see there's a lot of prisoners that are eligible, right? As long as they want to. I can also... 13 of them are 5 days. Boom, 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 boom. Let's change this to 6 days, motivate them to behave, right? We can also maybe reduce this to 33%. We don't want to go too far here because most of these guys start out at like 80, 85, maybe upwards of 90. And so we want them to take part in programs to lower their chance to reoffend. But if we make these conditions too difficult, they won't be affected by the motivation to do them, right? So we need to kind of be a little bit wary here. I'm going to keep these at 6 days, but I'm going to leave these at 5 days. I'm not going to disqualify all gang members, but I'm going to say maybe that the gang leader is disqualified. So we could allow, maybe we'll even go lieutenant and leader. We could allow gang members to move down. That's perfectly fine from this level. But if you're a lieutenant or a leader, you stay in max. And this is going to sort of maybe prevent that from spreading, prevent the problems from spreading a little bit more. And so there we go. We have all of these. Now, based on these conditions, there are 22 prisoners that are motivated to transfer down. But these guys are the ones that are motivated. They want to transfer. So they are going to try to behave to get themselves in a position where they can transfer, right? Based on the conditions, they're like, dude, I want to move over there. I hate this place. I need to be on my best behavior for a little while. And if anybody is already eligible, they'll be up here. These guys are not motivated currently. various different reasons. Maybe they think it's too hard. Maybe they're not close enough to it, so they don't care. Maybe they're gang members, or they're just really violent. It doesn't matter. They're just simply not interested in it yet. Come down here. We have 3 people in medium that want to come up to that want to go to minimum. So we can see all that stuff, right? And that allows us to do that. The final tab I'll walk through here, and I get that this is not the most entertaining episode for most people, but I did say I was going to spend a video looking at this stuff, and so that's what this one is. So sentence adjustments. This one here allows us to determine what their sentences are and how they get adjusted. So this is all from part of the Cleared for Transfer DLC. So if you don't have that DLC, you're not going to see any of these things that I've been looking at, or at least a lot of these things that are not going to be shown to you. So what we're looking at here is if they act up and do something a certain number of times. So let's say they've attacked staff 8 times. We're going to add 1 year to their sentence, right? So in this case, I'm going to bring this down to 6. I think if you attack staff, maybe attack 6. Well, this is a little bit, 8 is a little bit much. I want to make sure that they really don't do this. So let's say 5, right? 5 times, you get a year added to your sentence, right? Murder, staff and inmates, 1. You do this 1 time, we're adding years to your sentence. And you know what? I'm going to actually make it to where it's 2 years. 2 years to your sentence, right? So if you meet 3 of the above criteria, we'll extend it. I'm going to say 2. And really, I should just say 1, but I'm not sure how this... Let me just read this really quick. Prisoners who will qualify for sentence extension if they have attempted to escape prison the specific number of times. Yes. So if you attempt to escape twice, you can get 2 years. If you have caused serious injury, let's say 3 times. Let's bring this down to 3, actually. I really want to motivate them to not... to behave. So if they hit 2 of these, they'll get a 2-year extension, right? They'll be here longer. Now, there's also a reduction in value as well. We can take a year off your sentence if you meet 3 of the above criteria, right? Days without incident. You go 9 days without incident, that's awesome. You've also passed, let's say, 3 programs, great. You've spent more than 7 days working, great. 3 of those, you've also lowered your reoffending rate to 25%. If you hit 3 of these, we'll reduce your sentence by a year. I think that's pretty good. So they're motivated to behave so they can have their sentences reduced as well. So lots of things have been added. Again, that's the Clear for Transfer DLC, and I think it's really cool. I think it's a really great addition to the game. You can see we don't have nearly as many fights right now. We don't have as much violence, despite having quite a few prisoners in, the majority of which, or at least half of which, are maximum security prisoners. We don't have a whole lot of violence right now, and that's because there's a lot of motivation to behave. There's a lot of... They don't want to be here forever, right? They want to get out. They want to reduce their sentence. They want to have a better time. They want to move to a lower security level, right? There's all that stuff happening. I'm going to go ahead and do a tunnel search, I think, on all sectors before they wake up. So we're not searching their cells. We're not searching their person. So right now they're in free time, so we can search their cells without much of a problem. And we can see what maximum does right during the free time instead of it being lockup. So they might come down here. They might want to exercise. They might spread out. They take this time to take, and do their showers. They take care of their needs, right? That's what we want them to do. Another tunnel up here, looks like. Okay. So it's winter time. I was not keeping an eye on that. I am going to need to insulate heat pipes. Yeah, I need to extend this, unfortunately. So this needs to be extended 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We need extensions on all of these pipes, and it's probably 2. I think it's actually 2. Need to extend all of these. Unfortunate as it is. Not this one. Just these ones. And this one and this one. And we also need to get insulation on a lot of these pipes because they are going to freeze. So I'll be doing that with my staff here. Lots of unfinished business to attend to before we think about expanding. And moving on to the next stage, which is getting death row inmates, which I'm going to go ahead and hit that right now and get that started. But we're gonna start getting death row and stuff going, and that's gonna be after we've got this entire section pretty much like done, right? We've taken care of all the, you know, the pipes and protecting the cables. We don't have a rat problem. We got people. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. This isn't good at all. Got a couple of tunnels to remove there and up here, and we can probably just do this with tunnel removal, and any tunnel that's there, we'll have it taken care of. Okay, let me take care of this crisis with pipes and stuff, and make sure that this whole setup here doesn't break down and get destroyed, and people don't get irritated. I'll fix all this, and I'll be right back. All right, so this major freeze we're happening here is actually more intense than I thought it would be. Kind of wish I was paying attention during this. The pipe underneath this mess was actually not reinforced or not insulated, so it caused this entire area to lose heat for a little while. I managed to get that done, but there's actually a lot of instances where the pipes are not yet done. I just haven't gotten to them yet. There's also a couple places where we've got rats chewing through things. I've forgotten to place the rat traps. So let's get some additional rat traps put in. Maybe one back there, over here. We can just kind of put this in anywhere and try to catch these rats. And then I'm not going to bother with the sonic deterrence unless it's near food. But right over here near the staff rooms and stuff too, it's kind of the same story. We just don't have the pipes insulated, and so we are losing access to important things like drinking water and stuff. So I'm working on it, but I got morale at 67% right now, and that's because I've went ahead and made it to where like 3% of staff can take breaks. So it's like an all hands on deck moment here. I wish I could just target this to only workmen, but I can't. I don't have the ability to do that. So I've got some places that are very, very cold. Light blizzard here. We're going to continue to see cold temperatures, so I really need all hands on deck here to make this happen. And I'm looking at temperatures and places, and like this whole thing is just completely toast. I haven't done anything yet there, so definitely forgot to set that up. Temperature's pretty cold in here too. 53 is not too bad. 33 is bad. So I have a lot of like cold prep stuff to do that I have just plain not been doing. I have not been paying attention. So we'll get some heat pipes through here, down in here. We're gonna need to get this insulated because it's not. It's that one spot too. It's like I drug the insulation across the whole pipe, and then the workmen just did all but one. And there's lots of instances where they've done that in the past. They've just done the whole thing except one. Like right here, right? It's like this whole thing is done. I clearly just dragged my mouse across this to do it, but they left that one spot. That happens a lot. So when you're building in this game, anyone who's been building in this game for a while knows that. Now, I think the reason why the temperatures are bad here, it's not because I neglected to put heat pipes in here. It's because I neglected to reinforce them yet. I haven't done the insulation for them yet. So right here on the water boiler, basically, it doesn't look like I've actually reinforced the water boiler either. Or insulated. I'm sorry, I keep saying reinforced. I haven't insulated the boilers yet either. So there's a lot of like winterization stuff I have not done for this new wing yet. But I have all of the radiators and stuff in position. It's just not ready to go. Not ready to go to brave the storms that are upon us, I guess. Let's also get some light in here because this is pretty dark. Yep, here we go. All right, so I'm going to keep hammering away at this, but this is the video, right, where I said I was going to break down all these small, like, logistical things and go through these tabs, right? Quite a few people said they wanted me to go through these tabs, so I have, and I hope that makes sense for you guys right now. I hope everything else is kind of clear. There's obviously coverage plans. This is brand new to me too, but I think it's kind of self-explanatory. It does a really good job. The mouse overs and stuff do a really good job of explaining these different types of things. The reform tab or reformation tab, I need to do better with work experience. I need to create more jobs. The jobs I have are good, but there's not enough of them. So I need to have more jobs available so more prisoners can work. That needs to happen. I also need to do a little bit better on health. Somebody mentioned I don't have an infirmary near maximum security. I do now. There's one right here. I bought it kind of bought a little bit of space off of the storage, but of course it's not set up yet. It's brand new. I haven't been able to even route like hot water to it yet. I haven't even been able to get this stuff done with it yet. So it's a very new construction here. It didn't exist in the previous video. And honestly, I might just turn this whole thing indoors, move the storage over, and make this infirmary even larger. Because there's realistically no reason for this little area to exist. Yeah, no, there really isn't a need for it to exist at all. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say this light goes, I don't know, we'll move the light to be over here, I guess. And then we'll make this whole area, let's just make that happen fast so it's out of my way. Here we go. And I'm just gonna make this whole area be brick building again. Turn that indoors and go from there. So anyway, yeah, I've got some winterization to do. It's clearly getting bad out there. My morale is dropping like a rock because nobody's allowed to take breaks so that we can get this stuff done. But as long as we can get the temperatures and get the hot water accessible back by these things, that's what I really need to do. Is I'm focusing on getting the pipes insulated so that we can get stuff over to these locations. Looks like I need the other one right here, this one. Insulation. So I'm going to keep doing that between now and the next video. So thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. When all of this stuff is solid, everything is built in, and we're steady, we're going to move over to this side of the road, and we're going to start hammering out our new death row facilities, as well as our Supermax penitentiary area, which is where most of our snipers will probably live. Take it easy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.